Hey everyone, it's me, Kshealiece, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how I digitally paint skin in the app Procreate. I'm going to be going over how I shade and highlight and do all that good stuff. And actually, this video is going to be kind of different from my previous ones because it's going to be more of a talk-through video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to watch me do what I do, just keep on watching. Hey everyone, so like I said, we are going to be going over how I shade the face in my illustrations. I'm going to be using one of my clients as an example for today's video. She's super beautiful and I thought it would just be the perfect example to show you guys how I do what I do with shading the face. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna break it down really in depth so you guys get a good understanding of my skin shading process. So what I want to show you guys first is that, as you guys can see, most of the details of the whole illustration is complete. So I have all the eyes and the lips, like all the facial features are completely done, and the hair is also detailed along with the body and the shirt itself. But we're gonna be focusing on the face, that's why I left it blank. And I want to show you guys the first thing, which is I'm going to show you guys on the reference picture itself what I'm talking about when I say what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to be using different shades of pink to show you guys the different areas of the face and how that will be translated onto our drawing. So I'm going to use the lightest shade of pink to show you guys all the highlighted points. So I'm going to use this one. We're going to lower the opacity just a tad. And I wanted to show you guys basically where we're going to be putting some type of tone. So right here, I see light tones. Right here is where I see light tones. And the normal places where you put concealer is basically where the light tones are. This picture is technically in shadows, so some things are gonna be like have a different lighting, but it's still the same premise. So we're still going off of the same thing. So that's the lightest areas of her face. And then we take what I use as the mid-tone, and it's the areas around the lightest areas, but it's still not too dark. So they're not shadows, but they're also not too dark. And that's all these places right here, right here, right here, all right there. And then the final thing is the darkest shades, which are the actual shadows, and that's all around where the sun doesn't hit the face. So right here, a little bit on the chin, cupid's bow, underneath the nose usually, where the brow bone is, and underneath the chin. All that is the darkest areas. Now that does look crazy, but remember that this is pretty important because it shows every single thing. And then I actually go over at the end, and then I do the really bright highlights. So I do that because I like to, but you never really have to. And then that's where I would put the really bright highlights of the face. We're just going to translate this onto this, but with using the browns and all those colors that make up her face. So I'm actually going to take the guide off, but I will be referencing back to this color chart if you guys want, so that you guys know what I'm talking about and all that. So that's good on. Okay. So first things first is you want to pick your base color. I did already pick the base color, but you want to find a good mid-tone. The mid-tone is like not too light and not too dark. I'll show you like what it would look like if it was too dark. So right here, it's too dark. So that would just look insane. And then right here, it would be too light of a color. It would be just too light of a color, and it'll be hard to match it to the body. So you want to pick one that's just kind of close in the middle that you could really work with. This is just a little too orange for me, so I'm going to take it to the yellow side a little bit
work with it, bring it down just a tad until I'm happy, and I'm gonna make it a little more brown and then a little lighter. Yeah, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead, actually, yeah, we're gonna pick this for the mid-tone. So as you guys saw, I was just figuring out what color I wanted for the base. We don't touch the base, but it is important to have a really good color for the base. Everywhere where we put this lightest color pink, all right here is where I'm putting this brown. So everywhere where you see it on here, that's what I'm doing. You guys know that pink is my favorite color, so that's why I choose to use it. But this is how basically I get started. It's very rough, it's all over the place, but it does get the job done. So we have the highlighted shade, and then now I'm gonna get into the second color pink, which is a little darker than the first color. So as you guys can see, it blends together really nice because they're kind of close, and we're just gonna find a good shade for that as well. Now since the body's already done, I do have to pay attention to that, but usually I'm already doing the I'm doing the face first, and then I'm matching the body to the face. So it's kind of out of order, but for the YouTube video sense, it looks more appealing if the rest of the body's already done. So okay, and after that's done, which is like a little, actually they kind of, it was really close to my base color, so I'll make it a little more like that. So this would be the pink right there. This will be this color pink. You just want it in the areas where you see fit, and this part is like the messy part of it, first initial one down. So after you got those 3 colors, and I did add the base color to help it blend because we're not using the base color, so that's why you saw this brown being used. After all that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get a contour shade, and I like to go a little redder on the contour, and we're gonna hit it all in these areas where we see the darkest pink, so all right there. Yeah, so this part's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just blending out all of the shades that we laid down with our sketch brush. Okay, so now that we look like this, which looks kind of crazy, we are now going to blend this all out. So we are still selected, and I'm gonna take my blending tool, soft airbrush, and I'm just gonna blend all of this out. And honestly, we're looking pretty good. It looks a little different from the skin, but remember you guys, we're gonna correct that after because it's kind of hard to match it straight off the bat. So we'll correct that part. But that is actually looking really, really good. And I'm gonna show you guys the difference of the first layer and the second layer. So this is the flat base layer. This is what we were working with beforehand. And then just with our first thing, that's what we get. So it's actually a huge difference. You can see the difference in the face already. So after this is done, I like to go ahead and do the eye makeup because it does help me shape the nose better and all this area. So I do like to focus on the eyes next. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We are gonna put on this beautiful eye look that she has onto our illustration. So we don't technically need to select the layer for this. We're just gonna add a new layer, and I'm gonna just replicate what I see right here onto her eyes. Yeah, so this video isn't an eyeshadow tutorial, so this part is gonna be sped up, but basically I'm just copying what I see in the reference like I've been doing. I start off with a transition shade, and then I work my way into cutting the crease, which you see me doing right here. Cleaning it up a little bit to make it nice and sharp. And then I'm just blending everything out to make it nice and smooth, just like a real eyeshadow look. Adding in all the different oranges and browns that I see. Deepening up the outer corner with a dark brown. And off camera, I added on the glitter. And yeah, just making sure everything looks really nice, just like I see in the eye makeup look from my reference. And one of my favorite things to do is do the lash line. I love darkening up the lash line with a dark brown and black. So, I'm going to show you guys how it looks now. We have without the eyeliner and without the first layer. With the first layer, with the eyeshadow, I think it looks super good. I love it. I think the eye look just is making it look so bomb. And now it's time to do the third step in my coloring process, which is adding the real details. So we're gonna go back to our original base color, select it, add a new layer on top of the one we were working on, and now we're using the airbrush. Before we use the sketch brush to lay down the colors, and you can use the sketch brush again, but I just like to go in with my highlighter brush now and work like that. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna work on the nose area. Yeah, so like I said, I start off working on the nose because I feel like it really will shape the face and make my drawing look more like the reference. And I basically just mimic what I see onto my illustration. It's honestly pretty self-explanatory, but I just like to build layers upon layers. So yeah, that's how I do it. Now we're gonna blend it out. See how close we get this time. Now we're just blending everything out. When you're blending, you don't want to blend like this. Don't do that. You just want to do small little circles. So that's with the second layer all blended out. Bomb. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So we have no shading whatsoever. The second layer that we put down, all the colors, and then the third layer. See how it just starts coming together, and you just build and you build and you build. So now that we have that, I'm going to really define the nose this time around. This should be the final one. However, sometimes you have to make a little bit of adjustments, but we're going to try to make this one our final one. So we're going to select it, go on. Now we're going to work on this nose. Yeah, so I really love to build the dimension in the facial features like I said earlier. And this sometimes does take me a couple of tries because after you blend something out, sometimes all the details you put in does get a little blurred. So that's why I like to go over it as much as I need to. And you see me here just mimicking the shadows that I see in her face onto my illustration. You guys, it's kind of like the same steps for everything, but it just takes patience and practice, and then you'll get the hang of it. So yeah, that's how I do the nose especially. And I take these same principles and apply them to the whole entire face. You don't want your nose to look flat, so that's why adding the highlights and the shadows really makes it look three-dimensional. So you see me right here playing around with that and looking at it from a distance to see how close I am to the picture on the left. I added a little bit of highlight onto the nose. I love adding highlight, and I think it just brings everything together. And then right here I'm playing with the opacity for the highlight because sometimes you don't want it to be too blinging. You kind of want to have it a little bit toned down. And then I'm happy with the nose, so I start fixing up the lower part of her neck and upper part of her body because I just wanted to make sure that the shadows and everything really flowed together with her face. So I started adding a lot of dimension into her chest area. And now I just wanted to show you guys one more time what each layer looks like added on top of each other. So as you guys can see, as you add more layers, the whole illustration really comes together. And here's a side by side with my illustration and the reference photo. I think it came out really nice. And another close-up so you guys can really see what I'm talking about. I really like the way this came out. My favorite part is definitely the eye makeup, but yeah, you guys, this was a fun tutorial to make because I do get a lot of questions asking how I shade my skin, so I thought this would just be a good in-depth tutorial on how I do it. So we have the final product right here in front of us, and I'm just gonna sign it, and that'll be it.